A manager is responsible for making things happen. A leader is responsible for setting the vision and the direction.
Today, we're joined by Vanessa Fudge, CEO and founder at LeadingWell Group, an organisational psychologist, master coach and non-executive director at Mind.org. With over 20,000 hours of leadership development, she's a sought-after expert in systematic leadership.
Am I sufficiently available for my role, for the other people around me? And am I a trustworthy presence in the organisation? Some leaders are great at setting the big picture and the vision and direction, and then good luck with that, let me know when that's all done. What's important to acknowledge here is those leaders need the space and the permission to lead.
First of all, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
It's an honor. With 20 years of experience, you're one of the OGs, I guess, in the space as you know, the business world and the Western world developing from cowboy culture to more of a, I don't know, I mean, we're never going to be perfect. We're always evolving. That's cultures. But, you know, in a sense, I mean, you look back 20 years ago, the stigma that people had about mental illness and things like that. That's what I'm referring to you know, when I say cowboy culture, to right now, the openness that we have about people can really be themselves and talk about any mental illness. It's just like any other illness. Yeah, we all have it. It's just a degree of it. Isn't that amazing? So you would have been one of the OGs, transformed those cultures over the last 20 years. So I really respect that a lot. You would have seen it changing, I guess, yeah?
Dramatically, yes.
So thanks for taking the time to be on the show. A lot of experience that you can bring into myself and to the audience. I want to reiterate that in terms of what you are and what you do at high level, using my own words without being too sort of in terms of the exact lingo. You're a psychologist, you're an organizational psychologist, you're a master coach, you're a mentor.
Yes.
And your focus and your passion, though, in all these topics or all these engagements, you would rather, in other words, be helping people to be leaders and better leaders.
Yes.
Can I say that?
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
In a nutshell, that's it.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay. In saying that, I would like to educate me and the audience about the difference between, very quickly, if we can start, just give it to me, so summarize if you can, the difference between a manager and a leader.
Difference between a manager and a leader.
Maybe three things that are different.
Yep, there's certainly a lot of overlap, but essentially a manager is responsible for making things happen, the follow through, the implementation. So a leader is responsible for setting the vision and the direction, so bigger picture. And then what the manager does is makes it flow through the organisation,
Enforces,
follows through, executes. Yes, exactly. But the leader is the one that needs to come up with the bigger picture ideas and set the direction and decide, where are we taking the organisation here? Yes. That's not a manager's role. The manager's role would then be to understand all of that.
Yes. And
okay, how are we going to get all of the people now practically moving in this direction? So leadership is a lot about inspiration. Management is a lot about, as you said, executional, implementational, communication.
Yeah, communication is a big part of execution.
Yes.
I'm glad you've made that distinction. It's really interesting. So the manager there's a lot for the manager to do. You know, we don't want to undermine the role of the manager at all. There's a lot that they need to do to execute.
Yes. Yeah, extremely vital. In fact, you would know this as well, Anwar, if you have a look at people's experience of the workplace, a big chunk of that, often described as above 70%, is their relationship with their direct manager. So
I'm sorry, what was the 70%? I missed the point.
70% of how people are engaged at work, how engaged are they?
Okay.
A big dimension of that comes down to how well they relate to their direct manager.
Okay.
So we can't underestimate the role of management.
I've heard it. Sorry to cut you off, Vanessa. Just to agree with you, I've heard it being said, people quit because of their manager and join because that's what we are discussing. Yeah.
Yeah. The manager shapes the day-to-day experience of a lot of the people in the organisation. But the leadership sets the tone for all of that.
Unbelievable. It makes so much sense, and I never had to think about it until only 6 weeks ago. But it makes perfect sense. Very, 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 very straightforward. Okay. So in saying that, we want to come back now to that core topic, which is sort of your passion and what you would love to be doing every day, is to be mentoring, to be coaching people and managers and leaders about to be the best leaders they can be. And on your website, I've seen the distinction between leading yourself, leading others, and leading leaders. Can you maybe we start with those just at high level, tell us sort of the difference, and then we can maybe drill into one of them one at a time.
And
But
can I
just
can I add one more above
oh, of
leading leaders
course,
as well, Unwell?
yeah.
Yes, we'll do that too.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. I've got here collective leadership as well from your
Yes.
website as well. I didn't understand what that is.
And there's one more above that too.
Even yeah, so
It
even
just keeps going.
so 5, 6. Okay. So quickly, how about we do the difference between leading yourself and leading others and leading leaders? What are
Great.
sort of quickly what they are and therefore sort of these subtle differences?
Yes. It all starts with leading yourself, of course, and it applies to everyone. And this is where you hear, well, everyone is a leader. And that is somewhat true, actually. So leading myself is about ensuring that I have the presence to be able to be there for other people, be there for the work to be done in the company, the organization. It comes down to, am I am I sufficiently available for my role, for the other people around me? And am I a trustworthy presence in the organization? If I, l-
Trustworthy. I'm sorry, hold on. That is a $1 billion statement. I think people need to process this. So repeat that one more time. Am I? Am I?
am I a trustworthy presence in the organization?
Trustworthy presence.
So
Can you elaborate on that?
when I walk into the room, are people wondering, what am I going to get today? Is she in a good mood? Is she in a bad mood?
Oh,
Or are they going, great, we're gonna really get somewhere now. I can rely on this
oh
person.
my God, that's the two contrasts that could happen in terms of the
Yes.
spectrum. You
Yes.
could be when you arrive, create anxiety and chaos,
Easily.
or oh my gosh, thanks God you're here, and people feel motivated, driven, energized, and oh
Yes.
my God, when you put it this way, it's so brilliant.
There's lots of terms for this. Some people talk about executive presence, and I don't think there's any need to overcomplicate it. It's really simply a matter of what's your impact on all the people
Yeah.
around you? Are you that calming force? Are you good at being able to cut through the noise and be really there for other people?
Yeah, calming is good. And I'm not holding your response for what you said. You're just trying to describe it at high level.
Yes.
But I would love to add something just because you
Mm,
inspired me to talk about it.
yeah,
That's all.
please.
Not criticizing at all. Saying I love the calming, but also I love the fact that you're energized. Meaning, let's say you've got a team working on a complex problem,
Yes.
and not necessarily there's anxiety, not necessarily they're unhappy. Just they feel maybe a little bit stuck and maybe
Mm.
not inspired. So no
Yes.
one's really doing anything particularly bad.
Yep.
You come in and you create energy where people are ready to solve difficult problems now. Like the mindset to start to deal with difficult things is rised up. We're ready to now solve difficult problems. You inspire that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
And it
I
is a
felt that many
mindset.
times, and I take such pride
Yeah.
when I feel this is happening around me.
Yes. It is a mindset. It is absolutely a mindset. When there's self leadership happening, you're in a space of, we've got this, we'll make it happen. Ideally, we'll make it happen together, as opposed to, I need to make it all happen
Yeah.
myself. So the mindset of, we've got this, we'll make it happen, as opposed to, if there's a lack of self leadership, it reverts back to, it's got me. It's this situation has completely got me in its grips, and I'm just reacting from moment to moment. I've lost my center,
Mm.
and I'm now becoming just a random force that's completely unpredictable.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of to take us back to where we were, I asked you to please give us a bit of a quick difference between leading others and leading leaders. And I think you've just covered
I think
quickly
so.
the leading self.
Yep.
That's that presence
Yep.
about you. It's a mechanism of you to test yourself. Am I leading myself properly? Am I a
Mm.
leader for myself? By gauging your presence when you arrive into a team, within the presence of a team, what kind of reaction you're leaving on them. That's how you sort of saying that's maybe a good gauge of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But a little bit more on the self
Yes,
leadership.
please.
often, and over the years of leadership development work, there's a big emphasis on the outer rather than the inner. Do you communicate well? Are you a good influencer? Are you able to present well in the situation? And it's easy to get it the wrong way around, that it's all
Yeah.
about the outside in.
Yeah.
In reality, it's
Sounds like
about
a marketing exercise.
exactly. And there's been a lot on
Yeah.
what's your personal brand and
Yeah.
all of this. Whereas
Sounds like
really,
pitching at people.
it does.
You
Really,
can
it's
get that from Google these days, from ChatGPT, and then
entirely.
read it.
Yeah, so we're looking at something uniquely human here
Yes.
and authentic.
Yeah.
And that comes from inside, of course.
How
That's,
you make people feel
yes.
is not how glossy your present. Two
No.
different things completely.
So
Is
different.
that what we are talking about
So
here?
yeah, self-leadership really comes from the inside. Am I coming from a centered place where I'm available for people?
Is that what you mean by the inside? Your own inside?
Yeah, your mindset, your inner core as opposed to your outer presentation.
Got it.
It all flows from the inner core. It all flows
You
from
think you need to explain that a little bit, the inner core thing?
well, you've spoken about mindset, and that's a big part of it. So, am I operating from a creativity or am I operating from a reactivity? It's a difference between
Okay, can I, just because for someone like me
yeah,
who, want to learn from you, I can give you an example, see if that we can relate
yes,
to each other. So intuitively, again, without, being trained and just been listening to people like yourself, but this is really, to be honest, not influenced by anybody else, just intuitively over the years.
mm,
For me, the closest I can relate to this inner core thing is what I say to the team is the quality of the conversation. So
yes,
when we're having conversation, I said to them, when we walk away
mm,
from that conversation, you know it, man. You know it. If people are happy from there,
yeah,
everybody felt that they've been listened to. The quality of the debate was good. There's
yes,
good vision right now. People comfortable to get on to it with the job, or it was just being lectured and bullied into something. They weren't heard, and you just feel it when you walk away, right?
yes,
So, for example, this morning, when we started, we do the 11 o'clock, we call it the 11 o'clock meeting with the product team. So that's
mhm,
the product leaders as
yep,
well as the developers.
mhm,
Between 11, it could take 4 hours sometimes, but on average, maybe half.
mhm,
When I started congratulating people about the last few days, it wasn't about what was implemented in the product. It wasn't about the features. It was about the quality of the conversation.
yes,
I said, I'm
yes,
so proud of us. Yesterday, we were talking about 3 difficult topics,
mm,
extremely difficult features.
yep,
And the way we bonded, the way we listened to each other, the quality of the debate, the strength of the debate, the robustness of the debate. I am so proud of us. I took about 15 minutes just talking about that.
yes. It's wonderful because you're noticing that the way you're bringing people together, you're getting that 1 + 1 is greater than 2 equation.
Yes.
You are establishing some kind of a creative field there.
The feel.
Something
Really
better is
how you
coming
feel,
out
how
of that
happy
field.
you feel. And how happy you feel is respected. You've been listened to, respected. And at the same time, you could be listened to and respected, but you might get bored if you're really intelligent and the conversation is not intelligent enough. So you need to be challenged as a
Yes.
third. But at first, the foundation is listened to, respected, and then
Yes.
challenged.
Yes.
That's when you walk away so inspired.
True. And it could be a very difficult conversation, as you pointed to, Anwar, as well. It doesn't mean it's always necessarily going to be good news. It could be working through,
Yep.
quite some significant hurdle or a very different level of outcome you need from that
Mm.
group or that team.
Mm. So do you feel that's related to what you're saying? Is that a good
Yes,
example?
it's a great example. Yeah, a leader walks away from that meeting having created a greater sense of connection, but
Wow,
also
love how you said it. Greater.
achievement.
You'll
Yes.
improve on that every time. That's your role, to keep proving that
Yes.
culture every meeting, every time.
Every time. Yeah. No pressure.
Mm.
Because there will be days
11
when you
o'clock coming
don't.
back
There will
tomorrow.
be days where you don't feel good as well, of course.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
when we need to draw on something
Yeah.
extra to keep going
Yeah.
anyway.
Thank you, Vanessa. That's amazing. Okay. So that was the leading yourself.
Yes.
Anything else you want to add to that before we move to the leading others? We could come
I-
back to it. I want to keep that in check a little bit high level.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to leading self is it's never something that I don't believe you stop working on. It's a
I
continuous
think
mastery
until you
process,
die,
isn't
you're
it?
not satisfied with it.
Exactly. And it also, I believe, takes a bit of humility to introspect and reflect and go, oh, at the end of that meeting, I got really distracted actually. And I think I spoke over this person in my team. And, I want to go back to that. I don't want to leave that
Absolutely.
wrinkle in the dynamic of our
You've got to
team.
be. That's one thing I know, again, without being educated. You have to lead on that topic of being able to say what you're not good at, when you stuff up, and when you need to apologize.
And it's
You've got to lead by example about those.
precisely because we're all having this human experience,
Yeah.
aren't we? And there's so much to learn. So that openness to keep learning, keep growing,
Yeah.
keep reflecting, keep noticing where I need to get stronger
Yeah.
is that ongoing task of self-leadership as opposed to viewing it as some kind of panacea or destination.
I think that's the word you use. So forgive me if I'm repeating something you said. You did say vulnerability, right?
I think we spoke about authenticity, but
sure.
definitely I pointed to vulnerability as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I've really, again, intuitively noticed for years now, I've been doing it. I have to be the leader of showing people that you need to be comfortable to be.
Yes.
So for me to say, oh yeah, I suck at this, or I stuffed up this one,
Yep.
to be able to lead people, oh, he can say that, that's acceptable. Oh, that's okay. And they start to do it.
Yes.
They'll lead. If you don't show vulnerability, no one, as a leader, no one on a team will.
Precisely, because you're establishing the rule that it's not safe.
Yeah. Safe. Yes. Okay. All right. So do you want to move to leading others and maybe some key differences between what we've already covered
Yes.
and leading others? What would be on, because I'm sure you're going to say leading others would include everything with the leading yourself plus maybe more.
That's the thing. Yes. Yeah, it does. It definitely builds as you go along. So assuming that you have that foundation of self-leadership, moving into leading others is more about where am I taking these others? Where are we going together? So it starts with creating meaning. So if you think about your own organisation, Marsh and Logic, you had a vision, didn't you? And you started with one idea and then it mushroomed and it evolved over time. But you created meaning for your people. They felt part of something bigger that was going somewhere.
Yeah.
So that comes to, in leading others, it's really important to have vision, some kind of story that you're telling them about how the future is going to be brighter than the world is right now. And then, however, once you put up that vision and that direction or those goals or whatever you want to have people motivated to achieve, you then need to manage the energy, don't you? Because there's going to be hurdles, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be good days and bad days. So leading others is, yes, creating the meaning, but then being able to manage the energy. How do you motivate people when they're moving backwards and not forwards and things are unexpectedly hitting them out of the blue and thwarting their good work?
Yep.
So some leaders are great at setting the big picture and the vision and direction and then good luck with that and let me know when that's all done. Whereas it's not enough, is it? We have to actually be there throughout to make sure that that energy can be sustained and that that vision can be seen all the way through. So creating meaning, managing energy. And the third thing is enabling action to get the results and deliver the outcome. So they're the three pillars that we teach leaders about: creating meaning, managing energy, and enabling action.
What's enabling action? Please
So
elaborate on that.
enabling action is, you're also as a leader somewhat of a problem solver as well, aren't you? You're not necessarily able to precisely predict the future. So when certain obstacles come along, when certain conditions change, you have to be able to problem solve. You need to be able to make sure that the team are supported to deliver what is expected of them and to do so in a way that's as easeful as possible without unnecessary burdensome processes or obstacles or things that simply get in the way. So we do have to see it through. You could have a great meeting and a wonderfully energetic environment, but still not get the results. So it is vitally important to still see it all the way through and enable that action. Create performance standards and accountability so people can feel good about the fact that they've delivered.
Hmm. That's so interesting. That's so interesting. And the accountability is something that we are so focused on. You're not going to believe the coincidence of it. Two reasons. First of all, in the last 12 months, we've been engaged in rolling out the performance reviews.
Yes.
We
Great.
had no idea what performance reviews are. All we had is the clients, hundreds of clients to listen to, tell us about their use cases and why they want to use it. Someone would talk about the weekly catch up. Someone would talk about the formal reviews every year. Someone would talk about employee surveys, which is altogether probably a bit different. The 360 reviews, etc. All these different use cases and environments. So we learned a lot. But as myself being, working on a huge journey of personal development, and I started to restructure the business to provide more, create leaders within the company instead of me being, to delegate,
Yes.
delegate and create that layer of management in a sense. So that's been a huge journey. And in all of that, and the conversations I've been having through that journey, I realized that, you've got to provide clarity to someone about what they want to achieve,
Yes.
but you want to hold them accountable.
Yes.
Doing one without the other,
Yep.
it's not good.
Absolutely.
So you both have to exist and have to be done really well. And that's what performance reviews allow you to do the accountability in a civil, transparent, and equitable way.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it's a tool. That's all it is. A tool to deliver that. You can do it without any tool. You can do it with Excel and emails and whatever. So it's a nice tool, allows you to do it efficiently and maybe better auditable data in case there's any court cases or whatever. You can go back and find it easily, but you don't
Yes.
need it really. You
Yep.
can do it without anything, right?
Yes.
So the whole accountability, the theory behind it, regardless of the tool that you use, that accountability is so important.
Yes.
You say to someone on Monday morning, you agree with them about what you expect them to deliver for the week. You've got to have that meeting with them, even if it's 7 minutes on
Yes.
Friday afternoon.
Yep. How did you go?
And you failed in here. Why do you think you did that?
Mm.
And how is it next week going to be better? What are you going to do differently next week to make sure you succeed at that?
Yep.
So it's really interesting. So can you repeat one more time before we move to the leading the leaders? Because probably leading others is the topic we want to focus the most on, to be honest. So if I may just stay on that a little bit, the last couple of points and where you've used the word accountability, can we just go back and explain what that is? What's that point, and maybe elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. So to create that accountability, this is something that your committed team members that want to deliver and want to perform, they'll crave that accountability because they'll want to be visible in their achievements, won't they? There's nothing like, I'm doing all of this work and having
Yep.
all these great outcomes and no
Yep.
one even noticing and
Yes.
just drifting away. The right people that really care about where you're taking the company want to be noticed for their achievements. They want to celebrate when they've delivered and actually kicked those goals. So we want to create
feel
that for
bad.
them.
I feel bad because I look at accountability only to point out when something goes wrong.
Well,
I
that's
keep forgetting that it's also about
it's both.
acknowledging good things. And
It's
oh my
both.
God.
Well, the other thing is holding your people to a high standard can be an inspiring thing. So as opposed to
That's an interesting way of saying it.
it is inspiring because people want to do greater, don't they? They want to keep growing.
Yeah, you're right. And everybody wants to do that. I don't
Yep.
think anybody that just walks out of home going to work thinking, I don't want to do a good job.
Of course not. Of course not. And so when you say to someone, I know you're capable of much more than that. I can see in you what you are capable. I can see the potential in you. Then you're inspiring them
Yeah.
to keep learning and growing. And it's safe to have a performance
So you're
conversation.
saying performance conversation can be framed in a positive way
Absolutely.
as I'm holding you to a better standards. I want you to be better every week.
Yes.
Right.
Isn't that inspiring? Would you
Yes.
like someone to believe that you
Yeah.
could be better every single week
Yeah.
and to notice the potential that is not yet actuated but
And if you
waiting to
have,
happen?
yeah, and as a leader, so that's not necessarily the leader. So for example,
Mm.
team leader. Maybe
Yes.
3
Yep.
people on a
This is
team.
very much a team leader level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
If they have that trust, if they've already established trust with that person, they would believe them that they're going to actually, those meetings, they're going to make them better individual, better professional at what they do.
Yes.
So there's no reason why this could be a very positive, uh, uh, um, recurring thing that they are doing together.
Extremely positive and necessary as well.
Mm. If there's lack of trust, nothing's going to save the situation anyway.
No.
It's all bad anyway. Nothing good's going to come out, no matter what. So, you know what I mean? But if the fundamental is there, which is you establish trust with the employee, no reason why this can't be.
It needs to be positive because it's very much part of running a team, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
There are deliverables, there are standards that need to be met.
Standards. I love the way you frame it. I want to hold you to a greater or higher standards, and and that's what I want to do. I want to make you that better professional that you can be, and fine tune it every week. And by doing so, the company will win as well.
And this is about building capacity. It's not about draining capacity. It's not about less is more and blood out of a stone. It's actually about how do we as a team become more and more capable as we go along. And so good leaders are always building capacity and capability, whereas poor leadership tends to almost drain that capacity out of the team.
I'm sorry. Can you explain what you mean by building capacity versus draining capacity? Just an example.
Yeah, so as you put energy into the team
Mm.
and you are bringing their talents and their capabilities together and they're
Yeah.
achieving more than they thought they could
Yeah.
achieve.
That's the capacity, right?
That's the capacity because you might give them a bigger challenge next week. Now, in the beginning, they might have gone, no way. There's no way we could do that. You must be crazy. But
Oh my God.
over time, they start to go, I think we can actually do it now.
Oh
But only
my
because
God.
we've done this, this, and this. Why
Yeah.
can't we do that as well?
Yeah.
So that's building capacity. But a lot of it is just noticing. Like, I noticed the way you guys pulled this off. And the way you came together. And this is about bringing different people and different types together as well. If you're a team leader, for example, it's about getting the best possible combination out of those different people, isn't it? Those different roles.
Building capacity, I got that. As opposed to draining. Can you go
Draining
back
capacity.
now? What's the draining capacity now that we understood building capacity?
Yes. So draining capacity is where you have too much take and not enough give. There's a really important give and take in here that we're touching on, aren't we, Anwar?
Give in here.
So if you're draining capacity, it's like, I want more. I know you've pushed it hard, but I want you to push it harder. I want you to work harder. I want more out of you.
Without recognition, bonuses, whatever, anything that they
Thank
feel.
you.
Yeah. Sorry, I mean,
Look at what you've
recognition. Yeah,
achieved.
sure.
Recognition bonuses are great, but in the absence of, let's say, don't have that at your disposal.
Just simple gratitude.
Just simple gratitude.
Gratitude, recognition, potentially remuneration.
I'm so glad you're here. The whole team really values what you bring. I value what you bring. You're such a wonderful contributor to what we do.
Yeah.
So then you're allowing that person to grow and you're acknowledging that growth.
Yeah.
We all need that, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
So we're talking about leading others beyond leading self. And this is relevant for any supervisor, any team leader, and yet any CEO as well, of course, because every CEO has their team of direct reports.
Exactly.
But they've got more on their shoulders than these two levels of leadership, don't they?
Yeah. So summarize for me the top 3 things above the leading self, that foundation of leading self that we discussed. Leading others, what are the 3 things you would like any manager to know?
To go above leading others?
Yes, 3 things that you want a manager to learn about leading others. The top most important 3 things that you could think of.
3 things that a
we
manager...
probably covered already.
Okay, that we've covered already. We come back to the 3 pillars for managers of leading others, and it's all about creating meaning, managing the energy,
Yes,
and enabling the action. They're the
Creating
three
meaning,
things.
managing energy.
You might have a difficult conversation and you might ask yourself, did I make my meaning clear? I have to ask them actually. I won't know for sure. What was my energetic imprint? Did they walk away feeling better, worse, or the same? Do I even know? And then finally, enabling action. Do they even know what they have to do next?
And that's the whole
That's putting
setting
it
the
all
right
together.
goals and the accountability.
Yes.
So clear task, clear vision on a short-term basis, talking about weekly basis between your direct report and yourself.
Yes.
That clear vision of what they need to do and the fine-tuning, those holding them accountable and recognizing what they do well and showing gratitude and all that. That's amazing. You've really just made it so simple and
you just boil
easy.
it. You can boil it down to 3 words. It's just meaning, energy, action.
That's
and
what
you
I've
can
got here.
just keep checking yourself on those 3. Where do I need to focus? What needs more attention?
Create meaning, managing energy, enabling action. I love it. It really is very straightforward. Yeah. Thank you. That's amazing. Okay. I'm sure we're going to come back to these more. Just while we're here, we are discussing the different aspects of leadership that you have passion for, and in your job, you mentor and coach people and educate people about. When I say people, primarily leaders, managers, and HR folks. And we've discussed leading self. We've discussed that with leading others, the leading self needs to be there as a foundation. It's an assumption. And we talked about 3 aspects when it comes to leading others that will go on top of leading self, which is create meaning, manage the energy on an ongoing basis, and enabling action.
Yes.
Then if we come back to then the third point or the third topic that you coach people and educate people on, which is leading leaders.
Yeah.
What does that mean and who needs that and what is that?
So, depending on the size and scale of the organization, you might find yourself responsible for leading other leaders.
Of course.
So the people reporting to you have people reporting to them.
Yeah, I call my guys the sales leader, the account
Yes.
management leader, the product leader. I call them that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
I actually, the meetings I have with them every month or so is called the leadership meeting. These are the leaders.
Beautiful, wonderful. So
Yeah.
you're leading, and that's a leading a group of leaders meeting going on there. And what's important to acknowledge here is there's a shift in the ideal form of leadership required in this situation, because those
Okay.
leaders need the space and the permission to lead from their leader.
So interesting, Vanessa. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's
Not at
a
all.
point I'm really passionate about
Yep.
because, and I'm, don't seem to be, I don't want to sound like I'm correcting you on something here because
No, correct away.
It-
You can't offend me.
not a correction at all,
You
but
can't offend me.
I feel passionate about. I want to say it now because
Say it.
probably you're about to say it in the next minute. Everybody needs that space, maybe more so for the leaders. But
Yes,
part of
course, everybody needs that space.
part of my leadership style, when I say to people, I actually had an argument. Well, it was part of the debate when I was having a leadership meeting with everybody in the company. Someone in sales, I was saying to them, I said, as a team leader, the way I want your leadership style to be is on a Monday morning, you make sure people know what they expected to do for the week. And that's a conversation between you and them. You agree on what that needs to happen. That's that weekly catch up that they are using our performance management tool now to do. And then on a Friday afternoon needs to be very quick, 7-minute max.
Mhm.
Hold them accountable against that.
Yep.
And when something is not done or something goes wrong, you want to be able to arrive at understanding really why. And why is it going to be better next week? What are they going to be doing differently that it's going to be better next week? And I said, here's the interesting thing. I said, during the week though, once in between, in other words, those 2 meetings, as a leader, I want you to be only now, not a manager anymore, a supporting person.
Yeah.
How can I help you better? Give them the room. They might make the mistake, not come back to you enough and say, yeah, I'm good. They will make the mistake on a Friday afternoon. They realize they should have spoken with you, and they would be the finding, that would be the learning, that maybe I should have talked to you or asked you more. Just, I said, don't micromanage. Don't come to say, "Yeah, where you at with this? Where you at with this?" The whole word, people call it check-in. It's a lipstick on a pig. It's micromanagement.
Yes.
I said, give them the room. She said, no, you've got to be able. I said, we're not that kind of company. We don't want to be that company.
No.
Give them the space to become leaders themselves. Let them make the mistake. It's only going to take a few weeks, a few mistakes, and they will realize it, and it's going to be better. It doesn't cost us $1 billion.
No.
So do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Can you comment on that, please?
Yeah, so it's so important to create a safe environment where people can learn from their own mistakes, and that's what you're describing here really beautifully.
Yeah.
When you're leading leaders, that's great mentoring because you've been there and you've done that, and you've learned that this is the way we lead in the business that works really well and produces the outcomes. And as they're leading their people, it's supporting them from behind, like you're describing, as opposed to getting in the middle between them and their people, which can sometimes happen as well.
Are you like a mind reader or something? Every word you're saying, I'm going, oh my God, just happened 2 hours ago. Oh my God, almost happened 6 hours ago. Yes.
Not just here, I'm sure, all around town.
Yeah.
Yes. So leading leaders, it's really important that they also can learn from their mistakes and that you're behind them while they're communicating and supporting their teams. And also that they can cast their own vision as well for the team. You know, where are you going to take the team?
Yeah.
What do you see in each of your people? Have you got a vision for each of them as to their potential? So
I call it having your own stamp, your own DNA.
Yes. Yeah.
Your own
beautiful.
style of leadership there in that team.
Exactly.
I said, that is unique.
Yes.
It's only one unwild with all my goodness and greatness and all the mistakes and the shortfalls that I've got. But that's what makes me an unwild. That's my stamp. That's my own DNA on that style.
Yes.
And you're challenging me to be that better leader.
Yes.
And holding me accountable to be that better leader, but allowing me to have my own stamp. I'm not just, executing as a robotic thing out of stuff. Let me try a few things. Let me build my own kind of, version of leadership.
That's giving them room to grow.
Yeah, that suits my personality. That suits what I'm passionate about. Not passionate about what I do, how I speak, my ADHD, my whatever it is that makes me who I am.
Yes.
I want to build my own stamp there that works for me and everyone.
Yes, exactly. And that's what leading leaders is all about.
Interesting. How about, this is probably one of the most profound point that we can talk about for the next hours. So why don't we dig into this? Because I want to even make it a real example. I want to share with you from the heart the challenges I'm going through about this point, about leading leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you feel tempted, as you said, getting between them and the people, you feel tempted sometimes because you want to help. So I'm going to give you an example. A leader comes to me and I'm saying, how's it going? And we're having a chat one-on-one. And they're saying, look, I'm having a problem with one of my guys, whereby on a call, they seem to be, I'm on the call. I needed to be on a call because I'm their team leader and I'm supporting because I know I've got expertise about the product. But also the product expert, they gave me the same feedback when they were supporting that person on calls. They're trying to sell, but they are great at what they do, but they don't have expertise in product, which is understandable.
Yep.
We bring HR experts to be able to talk about experience and how that product can be really adding value to that company. How can it be implemented? How can it solve the unique problems about this company? And so this person is sort of, bullying the conversation, not allowing people to come in. And it's like a fight to be able to come in and correct something or add value when you feel there's a gap in the conversation. It's like they think they're perfect. They don't want to be helped. They're not creating that civil, nice, collaborative, quality conversation that I keep talking about.
Yes.
By saying, is there anything else you would like to add? I'm going to bring in now our product expert before you move on to the next point. Is there anything you would like to add? And really allow them to talk. They're not doing that. And so you feel, two things you can do here. Let me talk to them. How about you set up a meeting with you and them? And then and then you go, hold on. Remember? It's their team, the leader. You're supposed to be behind. The way you just said it's so amazing, not in here between them.
Yep.
From behind, speaking with them and let them go and communicate that. And then, in their own way and solve it. Give them the knowledge, give them the wisdom, give them the strength.
Yes.
Just face that problem and let them solve it and face it themselves.
Exactly.
I'm facing that almost 3 times a week.
Yes.
And I still haven't made any major mistake where I'm going in between and say, but it's so tempting.
Fabulous. Yes. It's
If you can
tempting.
speak to that from your own experiences and maybe share from some clients or experience, because I think so many managers will relate to this and leaders.
Yes.
It's really amazing.
Yeah, it's a really big one. If you establish, or if any leader establishes a pattern that you've got leaders reporting to you and you're going to jump in and directly coach or performance
Coming from a
manage
good
their
place, I want to
teams.
help them,
Of
but
course you
it's
want
not
to help.
good. Yeah.
Yes, of course you want to help. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. If I do that, and maybe I do change their behavior, and maybe it does help the business, but how are they then going to look at their manager?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely. They
And
not
that's
good
what
at all.
you're responsible for. You're
Yes.
responsible for positioning that manager
Yes.
because you put them in the role. You endorse
You
them to be
undermine
in
them
that
straight
role.
away. You undermine them straight away without
They'll look,
realizing.
they might look at you really favorably.
But the manager's been undermined.
Suddenly they don't look at their manager so favorably.
No.
And who do they come to next time?
Yeah.
They've got a dilemma. Suddenly they all start coming to you.
Mm.
And then it's not long until they come to you about the manager, not about the work. They come to you about the manager. And meanwhile, the manager's just getting smaller and smaller
Yeah.
and smaller and smaller.
You know, Vanessa, what you just did for me by just articulating that so nicely and reminded me how important, or strengthened my belief in how important that point is, just priceless. I really hope at least one person other than me learns from this. It is so important that it's an investment. You can shortcut it and think because I can solve it right now quickly, as opposed to invest in it and solve it via the manager over 3 weeks. But that's the investment that you need, because that's sustainable and that's better for the culture and better for the company in the long run.
Yes, it is a bigger upfront investment, because I'm sure you can just leap in there with the instant solution. But if you make that investment, you'll reap the reward, because that manager in your business is going to get stronger and stronger.
It's like taking a painkiller versus watching your diet and exercise and seeing that happening over 3-6 months.
Yes, exactly. And that's all about leading leaders.
How's your diet, by the way?
How's my diet? I try and be meticulous.
Good on you.
I do have a sweet tooth, though.
That's good. That's good. Amazing. Wow. That this point we're just discussing can be a book.
Yeah,
literally in itself.
You used the word trust earlier, and what we were touching on there builds trust throughout that team, for their leader and for you as well.
Okay, the trust. How did we bring trust into this particular point? The trust between her and her.
Well, multiple levels. So that manager that you've put into that role trusts you not to interfere.
Ooh.
But to support.
Yes.
So we'll come to you. The manager will come to you again and again with those issues.
I forgot about even that side effect as well, that the managers come to me less now.
Yes.
I'm not going to even know about the problems.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Less, and they'll come to you with the right problems, trusting you won't interfere.
Yeah.
But that you'll coach them to empower them.
Yeah.
Because you want them to come to you about the real dilemmas and the real priorities.
Sorry, Vanessa.
But less over time.
So I'm talking about, if you don't mind to re-emphasize, the making that mistake.
Yes.
How costly it is at different levels.
Yep.
If you don't mind, just help me summarize it. So we are discussing here, just for the audience to reframe it. If you weren't, even out of good heart, if you were a leader who isn't aware of this point of, which is, if you, out of good heart, because you want to help to solve the problem, you can surgically think that you can go in, directly speak with even in front of the manager, you might think that makes it better. Oh, do a meeting with me and them, you and me and them, and I can deal with it and stuff directly. I'm talking about, you don't realize the damage that you could be causing. There's so many levels to it.
So many levels.
First of all, you've undermined the manager.
Yes.
You haven't allowed the manager to develop and grow and become long-term, being able to deal with them themselves.
True.
And that manager now not going to come back to you because he doesn't want to be undermined.
Yes.
You're not going to even know about problems. And it's a disaster.
Yes. Yep. Managers don't want to be rescued, do they? They want to have a safe environment to grow.
Yeah. Whoa. You have no idea how much you've added value to me as a leader right now. It's sort of, I knew that, but maybe I didn't see it how critical it could be. So maybe occasionally I would have made that mistake, not realizing it'll be okay once in a while, maybe my thinking would have been before this conversation. So I'm aware there's a problem,
Mm.
but you've made it so clear that, man, you don't want to go there. Never, ever.
Not if you want to build the capability.
Yeah. It's got big time effects.
Yes. Yeah, very true.
Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. So that's leading the leaders. The question was before, um, is that a big thing? Is that applicable to multi-billion-dollar companies? Absolutely not. This is applicable even in a 15 people company,
Yes.
let alone
It is.
30, 40, 50,
Very
hundreds.
true. Very true. And when people go and do leadership development, they don't always make these necessary distinctions. They just lump it all into the one topic. But leadership's a big topic with lots of subtopics.
Yes. We've certainly learned that. Amazing. Amazing. What else on the leading the leaders? Anything else you can think of?
I think the big thing is giving them scope and agency to lead. It is, if we were to put it in a nutshell, it's getting out of their way,
Yes.
making sure that we sufficiently get out of their way so they
Mm.
can lead them,
Mm.
their people, their team,
Mm.
and
But you've got to
develop
hold
them,
them accountable. You've got to
hold them
nurture them.
accountable, and
Yeah.
coach them behind the scenes.
Yes.
Coaching them behind the scenes is
Yes.
really important. It's
Yeah.
not set and forget. It's having that trusted rapport that you can be really helping them behind the scenes, not in front of the scenes, but behind the scenes.
But hold them accountable. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I have that example as
Of
well.
course.
I know for a fact I've empowered this leader, and he's a awesome guy. I fully believe in the guy, and he will rebound. But that was just a short-term thing anyway. That was just what we call, what we can call, I'm sorry, a first round in the fight. So it's all good, not the end of the world at all. First layer of the onion, yeah?
Yes.
But in that first layer, I feel they needed to show a bit more courage,
Yes.
to stand up for some of their people, in a sense, walked all over them.
Yes.
And I never interfered. I never went directly. And I said to them, what my job is to make you feel that you can do this. You absolutely did everything right, allowed these people, they have enough knowledge, they need what they need to do. You've got to stand up for yourself and for the company. You've got to go back and make this happen. I've showed them the issues. I've showed them the things that maybe look at the data differently and see about these shortfalls, what they could have done better, etc.
Yep.
I said, you've got to make it happen. I know I've got the right leader, man, but you just needed that knowledge now, that encouragement, make it happen.
Yep. And what you're doing there is you're explaining what it means to lead in your company, in your environment, and you're not leaving it for them to guess and figure that out, which is really, really helpful. So the more you can articulate, this is how we do leadership here, linking it back to what's important and perhaps the values that you've got as a business, that's really allowing them to relax, knowing that they understand what it is you're trying to create and build through their leadership as well. It's giving them a frame in which to operate.
Where did you come from, Vanessa? How did this guy come across you? I mean, as if I just like, this is exactly what I wanted to learn. This is what I'm going through right now. And it's sort of, I know what I need to do. I needed this reinforcement and that clarity.
You needed a leadership conversation,
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah. Thank you so much. It's
Pleasure.
really amazing.
Pleasure. It's so real, isn't it? I can hear just how real
yeah,
it is and live and present.
Yeah. Thank you. That's amazing. Okay. What is, let's take this in a slightly different angle now. You've been doing this for 20 years. What is the thing that you're most passionate about at the moment? And clearly our passion evolves probably every 6 months, every couple of years. At the moment, what are you the most passionate about?
I'm very, very passionate about the potential for leaders to raise the well-being of their entire organisations. And I mean more than just a few individuals. I mean leaders to create organizations that are really healthy, inspiring places to work, because we spend so much time at work and mental health issues can come up in people because of the poor environment in which they work. I'm really passionate about the whole notion that we can build organizations that are inspiring, healthy organizations that actually people improve their well-being because they've worked there rather than lower their well-being because they worked there.
Another great person I spoke to on this podcast a few weeks back, one of the motto on their website that they say, work should be good for you.
Yes, work should be
I
good
go,
for you.
hold on, did I just read
And
did I
it's so
understand what I just read?
It's so fundamental.
So clever.
It's
4
so
words.
fundamental.
The boom went like this.
It should be good for you. Work should be good for you. We get purpose, we get meaning, we get identity and satisfaction, and we get inspiration and growth out of our work.
Yeah.
So our purpose at LeadingWell, I have a team of leadership experts all around the country, and our purpose is to raise well-being through enlightened leadership. And that's what we're really excited about.
God.
To
raise
well-being.
well-being. That's a personal well-being. Forget the org now. Via the leaders at work.
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa, that's what we are talking about. Work should be good for you.
Work should be good for you.
Providing the right leadership.
Yes.
Is there?
Yeah.
Via creating the right leadership.
Because don't we know so well that leaders can lower well-being?
Of course.
Don't we know it? Haven't we seen it?
Oh
Haven't
my
we
God.
heard it? Isn't it in every newspaper, every single social media platform, every single day?
Yeah.
But how many times do we hear about work improving well-being? We do hear about it, but it's not common enough. It could be more common.
Yeah. It could be not as common. It could be that, as you know, only drama gets the media and stuff want to propagate drama more.
Of
They
course,
love drama.
that's what sells clicks.
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
it?
what sells. So maybe because I don't know that you would know better. I'm sorry, I'm not interfering. You're the expert on
No.
topic. If you feel it's not, we have more drama than positive, I would trust you. I'm not talking about any figures. I have no idea. I'm just pointing out that people love drama. The stuff that becomes viral and stuff typically not about good things. It's about when things go wrong and when people are fighting and abusing themselves and shouting at each other. That's what goes viral normally, right?
Unfortunately, yes. But as we were saying at the start, there's so much more awareness now about mental health and that work should be good for you. So there's a huge opportunity for leaders. And there's a huge competitive advantage commercially in this as well. Because if your company relies on keeping good people, then you want to be an expert at keeping good people and having them grow while they're there and achieve more than they thought they could achieve when they started.
Even if you were, God forbid, an evil leader, you
saying still might want to do
it's a
this.
smarter business to be a good leader.
Yes,
right.
It's much smarter because it's expensive to replace your people.
Yeah. So it is like smarter business. Not even if you weren't going to do it from a good heart, we would hope you would do it because you're a good person.
Yes,
but
it makes
even if you weren't,
sense.
if you're just commercially motivated person, it's better business, smarter business. Yeah,
way better business.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just breaking it down to the floor level here.
Yes.
Very interesting. Yeah, I did ask that question. I actually always use that because, you want to play the devil's advocate because you get cynical, old-fashioned business people that say, we're not here to baby people, we're not here to blah, we're here to improve shareholder value. Shareholders worked all their life to put money in this company, they want to see a return. The old mentality of, and I'm going, fine. Let's take this angle. Even at that level.
By all means, take that angle.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. You're not going to make money if you don't have happy people at work.
Exactly. Yep.
Especially these days.
Especially. It's a core requirement.
Yeah. Okay. That's really interesting. So interesting. Every time I speak with someone like yourself and being, a professional that in psychology or organizational psychology, sort of we're almost talking about the same topic, but you guys come at it from different angles that are really make me understand it better. Coming at it from different angles, the nuances of it, the examples, from different experiences in life and with clients and stuff. Really interesting the way you view the world and this problem is so interesting. Okay. All right. So you are passionate about creating healthy organization and you believe work should be good for you. You believe right leadership should create an environment where people are happier and that is good for the community, for the well-being of people.
Yes.
It comes
And the
down to
performance
people.
of the business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so if this is your passion, let's break it down to those managers, to the directors, to the shareholders, etc. Maybe in 3 points. Why is it then better for the business to have healthy a group of individuals? And the point you've made is not just a group somewhere, it's everybody to create better well-being across the organization. You said correct.
Yes.
Why
Yeah.
is that better for the organization? Let's assume
Yeah.
someone's still not convinced. I'm sorry, I'm
Yes.
definitely
Yeah.
convinced.
Yes.
Let's
Yeah.
break it down. Let's make it
Yeah.
super clear. Yeah.
So why is this better for the organisation? Well, organisations, we all know, don't we? We're facing new and unpredicted headwinds. We've got changes coming that we're going to intersect with, that are going to challenge us and the direction we take our organisations. We had a big lesson in the last few years because of COVID, but we have other disruptors as well. I mean, look at what's happening to trade globally at the moment. Look at what's happening with AI. So we need to build organizations where people can adapt and change and grow over time. We need the best possible energy and capacity by which to do that. Because a company might be
How is the
going,
adapt? I'm sorry. So I think this is what you're about to do, but I would like you to explain why we become more adaptable if we are happier human beings.
yeah, so if we're depleted, if we're stressed,
Okay.
if we're drained,
Okay.
we know, don't we, that we're going to take a knock much harder
Sure.
than if
I
we're
accept that.
fit, if we're strong,
Mm.
if we're feeling really sound, not even necessarily happy, but just feeling strong.
Mm.
Then we're going to be able to face challenges.
Feeling strong.
We're going to face challenges from a much better stance, a greater likelihood of success.
Mm.
And so if we are consciously, deliberately building healthy companies, healthy organizations, as these changes collide in time with where we're taking the business, we've got a much better fighting chance of sustaining through whatever headwinds we might be sailing blissfully into.
Okay. Okay.
Very few organisations are setting out right now to maintain status quo. Most organisations are striving to be more successful, to achieve more with less, to succeed in gaining more market share than they've got, whatever it might be. We need the best out of all of our people, don't we? Not the worst.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so
Yep.
when we set about to build healthy organisations, it's just a sound strategic equation. It makes sense, doesn't it? So rather than looking at well-being as please be kind, please do the right thing by your people, it's reframing that into intelligently build your future organisation by supporting your people to be the best and to stay because they love it there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. What I'm thinking is, as you're speaking, I'm trying to find examples based on real examples in my company that I can
Yep,
maybe
great.
share with you to relate to. Yeah.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Um. Okay. So the one way of professionals like yourself, and you've already in the course of this conversation, you've used that word before, the psychologically safe environment. The same thing about
Yeah,
creating a
same
healthy
thing. Yeah.
environment, or saying it that the well-being of people, or the well-being of people, psychologically safe environment. So we are discussing right now, if you do succeed and deliberately work at creating a psychologically psychologically safe environment, why is it better for you commercially, and why are you more equipped to deal with fundamental changes that can really shake the industry,
Mm.
and whereby companies could completely disappear and companies could rise? Why it would play a significant role in that? Um, if I was to think about an example, you know, when we had a challenge in early Feb,
Mhm.
I asked the team to back me up on a quick change in
Yep.
strategy for about a week, where people had to work really, really late
Yep.
and drop everything we're doing. We went in a certain direction and we worked really late for about probably 15, 16 hours a day for 3 days. And we ended up delivering,
Amazing.
and we did really well. I rewarded the guys, gave them Monday off and gave them a bonus as
Oh,
well, and
yep.
whatever. But nevertheless, they didn't even expect any of that. They did it to back me up. And when I was so humbled, almost cried on Tuesday when I was speaking with them,
Mm.
how they backed me up with this, and no one even was surprised. They go, "Oh no, we're always going to do it. I don't know why you think it's a big deal."
Mm.
I go, "What? Why would they do that?" I didn't even know that it built that kind of trust, and it was really unbelievable. I mean, that's an
It's
example
a
of that, right?
beautiful example. A beautiful example. You saw the need to achieve something out extraordinary.
Had to be done by that. There was a deadline on
Yep.
it.
Yep. And the team also obviously knew that you trusted them to be able to
Mm,
pull that off as well. And
mm,
that's motivating too,
yeah.
to actually get through a big challenge together as opposed to alone.
Mm.
So different to saying to one
Yeah,
person,
no one could have done it on their own. No.
no. And there's and so that's part of work should be good for us. And it should also ensure that we have a strong sense of belonging to
Mm,
something bigger than us as
mm,
well.
mm,
So that example is made all the more powerful because your team, those people that were pulled in to do that,
mm,
they managed to work together,
mm.
managed to do it together. And doesn't that change the equation?
Yeah,
It's so different than if you just singled somebody
yeah,
out. You're going to have
yeah,
to work 16 hours for the next 3 days. I won't be here. It's just so different. So
yeah,
it is a lot about not building islands, but actually building connection, and for people to feel that they're supported by the others around them. It's not burdening people as
yeah,
individuals, it's building stronger, connected teams
yeah,
with these challenges like you're describing.
yeah. Okay. To me, when you talk about why is it smarter business to have a healthy organization, meaning at the level of the individual, the well-being of individuals, and in other words, can be described as psychologically safe environment.
Yeah.
I can use my own examples, and please correct me if they make sense or not. In a company like ours, where innovation is key
Yes.
all the time on a daily
Yeah.
basis, let alone weekly, monthly, yearly, to me is if you don't create a psychologically safe environment, people will not be comfortable. They will shy away from coming forth with ideas.
Yep. They're going
If
to withhold.
correct,
You don't want the withhold.
if you think, if they think they're going to be embarrassed if the idea is bad,
Yep.
they're going to hold off and hold off and hold off. Out of 50 times being speaking, they probably say once. You're going to miss out on gems potentially,
You will miss out on gems.
right?
Yes.
So the innovation will certainly be suppressed
Yes.
if they don't feel that it's completely okay if the idea is completely silly and stupid. Yeah, that's number one. Number two, so that's the innovation aspect of it. Number two is when mistakes are happened, for people not to own it, so you can discuss of what happened, and so it doesn't happen again.
You can learn from those
Yes,
mistakes.
exactly. Um, and there's also, more and more nuances about that, just to create an environment where people are comfortable to say, I suck at this, I'm good at this. So you know the strength and weaknesses, so you can assemble the right teams for things, as opposed to people giving you the polished picture about themselves and stuff,
Yes. Yeah.
which will really create really fake teams and fake the wrong
And
combinations. And
disappointing outcome.
yes, right. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, if shareholders or investors or the so-called smart investors don't recognize that, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know what else, how else you can explain that to them, especially in an industry like ours where it's all about innovations and ideas and, you
Yes.
know,
Yes. It makes business sense.
yeah, yeah. So
It's-
that whole people basic, in other words, what we're saying is psychologically safe environment will allow people to be vulnerable, what to be comfortable to be vulnerable. I'm sorry,
Yes.
and if you don't do that, man, you've got shallowness, you've got fakeness, you don't have you've got a lot of, well, you end up with vulnerability in your company.
Yeah, you've got big risk factors over time.
Oh, what?
You've got risks over time that
Yes,
will
yes,
erode your performance.
yes.
It will absolutely erode the performance of the
That is a
business over
brilliant way of
time.
saying it. You start to develop risks everywhere because of that lack of real knowledge, not getting to the real picture.
Yes. Yep. You just don't have that strong fabric holding the
Yes,
company together well.
yes, yeah, yeah. That's brilliant. Okay, so that's one thing you're passionate about. Anything else you want to add about this topic before we move to the next one?
No,
Okay, brilliant. I think we've covered it really well. It's
I
amazing.
love your examples.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah, so
thank you.
real.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. So now, can we talk um, about you? How did you get into this? How did you decide I want to be a psychologist or whatever? Talk to us about as a young girl. How did you end up going in that direction? So if there's young people
Yes.
listening to this and deciding maybe they want to be psychologists or HR or whatever,
Yes.
yeah, what's the journey that brought you into that um, industry?
Initially, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I finished school. I remember having all the books on the bed and thinking, what on earth am I going to do? And there was a family friend who was a psychologist, and I really admired her. So I started looking up psychology, and I thought
Ah,
I'll do what she does because she had always been there, and she'd been a really good voice of reason over the years. So I thought I would, and
voice
I
of reason for you,
for the
for your
family,
family. Yeah, you've been
yes,
observing the adults
yeah.
talking, and you can see her
I could
style
see
of
her
leadership.
influence, yes. And I always, for me, it was never about business, which is quite strange.
Mm.
It was always about, I had this thing in my head. I wanted, strangely, to alleviate suffering. So I thought, I'll go into psychology and I'll help people when they're
Yes,
at rock bottom. And so
yes.
that's what I went to do.
Mm.
And I remember halfway through my psych degree, I was in a clinical setting and there was advanced schizophrenic cases, patients around me, people. And I remember asking my supervisor, "Oh, how do we make them better?" And the answer was, "We don't." It was what we do is we medicate and we manage this disease. They're not getting better. And I was just
That would be so
floored.
deflating. I
I was
know.
completely floored. And I stood there. I won't name the psychiatric
Sure, sure,
institution because I
sure,
don't want
sure.
to reflect negatively on it.
I'm not going
I
there.
know. I just stood there that day and went, oh, I'm in the completely wrong place.
Just manage that.
I'm quite a follow through person, so I don't jump out of things before they're finished. So I had this thought in my mind. I think I would have been 18 at the time. I had this thought in my brain, maybe 19, and I thought, I wonder if you can help people before they end up in this
Thank
situation.
you. I think like that all the time.
Yes, I thought, and then my brain went to, maybe, well, where are most people? Most people are working
Yeah.
and they have maybe you could help people at work. So this was
Mm.
the kernel of what I do today. It doesn't mean I haven't been on lots of other roads to come here
Sure,
now,
sure, sure.
but the kernel was just this thought of, oh, I've got to get to them sooner. Like this is nothing to be done here there's no difference to be made. This is called officially disease management. I didn't set out to be a disease
And it's
manager.
boring.
I
It's boring
and it
and
was and
disappointing
sad.
and
It was
sad.
sad.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really sad
Yeah.
and confronting, very confronting
Oof.
that day for me. So, see, I just changed track and thought, okay, let's help people let's help people at
Yeah.
work. And
Yeah.
for some reason, into my mind just sprung up, how about you just find a way to help people at
Go
work
back
because
towards
they're
the
still
cause problem,
functioning.
towards the root problem.
And then, of course, later I realized, you know what's really shaping how people are at work? They're leaders. They're the ones. They're the ones that are really determining how this work is being experienced by people and whether they can enjoy the work they do. So that then it just naturally led
Yeah.
me into leadership.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Can I just say something without sounding like a smart ass? I often think, for example, I'll give you a real example. So when I discovered mindfulness,
Yes.
and I read a book and started to read more and
Uh-huh.
YouTube and whatever,
Yep.
and understood the linkage between yoga and mindfulness, that yoga is just one instrument of mindfulness. Mindfulness is way bigger than all of that, right?
And yoga's way bigger than yoga as well. It's
Yeah,
a massive body of
sure,
spiritual
sure. But the
insights.
foundation of all this is mindfulness.
Yes.
Yoga is one practice to
One
bring you into
practice,
closer to mindfulness, or to bring you back towards
a
mindfulness. Yeah,
whole set of
yeah,
practices to bring you there.
that's right. That's right.
Yes.
And so, and I go, hold on, why don't we teach this to kids at kindergarten,
Oh, please.
at
Yes.
school? Why do we wait for them to have
Yes.
that problem at the age of
I
18, 20,
know.
and 21,
Yes.
and we end up almost too late? And
I'm very passionate about this.
like, what's going on? Because I remember,
I'm s-
bless him, my son, who's 20,
Yes.
who works in the company,
Yep.
by the way, in sales. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. He's doing a pretty good job. And
Great.
I remember when I
Well, you're a
used to go,
family business.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're not, but yeah. Um, I remember when I was at primary school and
Mm.
stuff, they used to try to do yoga with them. You can see all the kids are having fun with them. They have no idea what they're doing. So they just going with the motion. They'd go. It's the cutest. All
It's
these little kids
very
doing it.
cute.
You can see they're just,
Yes.
they're probably not in a different space, as in they're not definitely practicing anything. They're
Yep.
just going to motion, physical appearance only. I used to laugh. But,
Yeah.
so some schools might have been trying it a little bit, but hardly enough focus.
There's nowhere near. I took on the challenge of heading up the Wellbeing Committee for the P&C at my boy. I have 3
Yeah.
teenage boys. One's
Yeah.
just finished school now.
Mm.
And just trying to get them to do breathing for HSC students to manage their anxiety before exams. We finally got a breathing lesson
Yeah.
in.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
But,
it-
it's a bit too late. Like, should be.
So in India, this is taught in primary school, how to live, how to meditate,
Yep.
how to really build that core of peace
Yep.
inside you. There are schools
what
in
would be
India where that's part of the
amazing?
curriculum.
What would be amazing for someone like yourself to do, if you were to, let's say, I want to retire now, I want a hobby, something I believe in to do, is to do some kind of non-for-profit organization, raise some money about driving these kind of things, but combine physical and mental, meaning
Yes.
teaching kids about how to eat properly,
Oh yes, that's
the whole
coming as
glucose
well.
intake and all that, as well as mindfulness. Combine the two. In my
Yes.
opinion, they'll do the most
Oh.
meaningful thing anybody can do.
It's being done in other countries, just not Australia yet. And there's irrefutable evidence that it's a game changer. Our children deserve that too.
Yeah. I don't know any facts. I've heard it before, but from my own experiences observing my son and other kids, I can see, I would claim,
Yes.
unsupported. I don't think there's science that supports it. There's a correlation, I'm claiming, between the glucose intake through breakfast on empty stomachs with
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
and all kind of ADHD and mental
Yes.
issues
There
that
i-
are
there-
developing amongst kids.
Yeah, for a time I was on the board of an organisation called mind.org, and it was basically medical professionals and doctors having a look at all of this childhood epidemic of ADHD and autism
Yeah.
and various other disorders.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of science and
Yeah.
evidence to point to
Yeah.
the role that diet can play. And there's also a lot of evidence for the role that mindfulness can play. Have a look at the Ranchi school in India and the work of Yogananda, and that's over 100 years old now. Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda is his name, but he brought yoga to the West, but we taught it as a physical discipline, whereas he delivered a spiritual discipline. But like we love to do in the West, we made it all about the body. In truth, it was all about the spirit, and they've implemented that in schools right throughout India. And it will happen in the Western world as well. We're just catching up.
Mm.
Autobiography of a Yogi, best book I ever read.
Mm. Mm.
Beautiful book.
Mm.
And it details the schools in India and what they've done.
You just have to paint a picture, give them give them the taste, and then they can
Yes.
themselves follow through in their own journey where they find more information and stuff.
Yes.
Just for them to plant the root of
Precisely.
the mind and the real you.
Yes.
Once you've made them understand how the mind can be playing tricks on you,
Yes.
and you
Not
need
to
to be able
trust
to
every thought you have.
catch them doing it. Once you've got that virus in them, that's
Yes.
it. They can develop that in their journey and go forward. They will never lose that virus. They will start to learn more and more. And by the time they're 18, you don't need to teach them
So true.
those tools before they go to the test and whatever.
They should have it well. Well, then yes, we share this passion, don't we?
Yeah,
Anwar? Yes,
definitely.
definitely share that passion.
Combination of the food, the
Yep,
knowledge,
the
just that knowledge about
food.
the glucose,
Yes, huge.
the glucose spike.
Yeah, it's been pumped to all the packaged foods. That's where it's
Yeah,
all coming from.
Brilliant. Well, okay, so we're probably coming to probably half an hour to go at most. What else would you like to talk about? You know, something again that you're passionate about. If there's one message you want to send, you would like
Okay.
managers to be aware of, what would
Yes.
that be? That last 2 or 3 things you want a manager
Well-
should be aware of?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Everything we've been talking about so far is the foundations of good leadership. The high yield development of future leaders sits above everything we've been talking about. It would be good to just touch on that and for you to challenge me on that,
By any means, let's go.
to give almost that sense of, oh, there's another window and it just keeps going.
What is that? I'm not even sure what you're talking about. Sorry, high
Yes.
yield?
So we've been discussing leading self, leading others, and
Sure.
leading leaders, and
Sure.
these are vital fundamentals. And there are new dimensions opening up now where there are other forms of growing as a leader and developing as a
Okay.
leader with even more sophisticated skills
Okay.
to handle uncertainty, to handle disruption, ambiguity, and to create these healthy environments for people to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really nothing new. It's almost a return to what humans have always known. And the term being used for this is systems leadership, but it's not as in technology system. It's about human systems.
Mm-hmm.
It's about looking at your company as a whole ecosystem
Mm-hmm.
and how do you make it strong for the future. And so this is starting to flow through now when people are going away to do their MBAs and they're coming back with all these new ideas. They're bringing this back in.
Okay.
Governments are starting to wake up to the fact that this is like a missing piece for leaders. And the best way I can describe a systems
please.
leader to you is to probably tell you what they're not.
Yes, let's do
Yep.
that.
So let's say you've got a charismatic leader.
Yes.
It's all about them. And they can be very magnetic and very good at what they do. They might not build a strong, connected company around them. They might have silos. They might have some fractions over here and some
Mhm.
fractions over there. Because they're leading essentially from an ego state. They're leading for, they're taking people with, it's all about them. It's an all about them message. And when they leave, it's almost like somebody else has to somehow come in and fill those shoes, and it can be quite difficult. A system leader is somebody who is leading for the benefit of the whole thing.
Mm.
So they're making decisions they're making decisions on behalf of the whole of it, not just the part of it. And they're really good, and I'm sure you do this because all instinctive leaders and all intuitive leaders do this. They're very, very good at noticing patterns and predicting how their company is going to behave and where they need to intervene. So this is a system leader. If you think about, you've got that big planet behind you. You think about like zooming out on Martian logic as if it's that big planet. This is about
Mars.
Mars.
Yeah, it's Mars.
Well, that's a lot of war energy. But it is. It's Martian logic. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful Mars.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you want to harness that wonderful Mars.
Yeah.
And so what systems leaders do, very intuitive, very naturally, is they take care of the whole thing in the way they lead. We spoke about shareholders versus staff and teams, inside versus outside. A really good system leader can read into the whole thing and make sure that their decisions are holistic decisions.
Unbelievable.
And that's where leadership's heading.
I get it now. The system in this case of a tech company like ours is the shareholders, the directors, the management team, leadership team, management team, employees,
Customers,
clients,
future
ecosystem.
customers,
Oh my God.
the whole thing.
Yes.
It's actually acknowledging I'm responsible for an ecosystem.
The whole
here.
ecosystem.
And you can't have a healthy part unless you've got a healthy whole.
Yes. And system being the ecosystem. It's a word. I wish you can find a better word. Maybe it should be called ecosystem. People, you're right. They think
I know. They think it's
tech
techie.
system, or they think
It's actually
yeah,
very holistic. It's a very holistic.
It's not a human kind of word that you want to use.
I know.
It's not a
but do you know what the origin of the word?
human-friendly word.
No. Do you know what the origin of it is, though? It comes back to ancient Greek, and it just means system means to stand together. That's all it means.
Is
That's
that
the
what
origin of the word, is
I
to
didn't even
stand
know
together.
that.
So what do systems leaders do? They help people not just stand together, but pull together for the success of the whole ecosystem.
My God.
So that's where leadership's going.
How can people ever repay you for the stuff that you teach? Not just you.
Oh,
I'm really not now.
This is
I'm
a
saying
field. I'm part of
just
a
to be
much bigger field
exactly.
of sprouting insights.
Let me
I'm
rephrase.
very fortunate to do.
I'm
what
not
I do.
sucking up to you. So
No,
let
no,
me
I
rephrase.
know you're not.
So let me rephrase. People like you.
Yes. It's such a privileged role
People
to
like
play.
you, because I've already had the privilege of meeting 3, 4, 5 people, and I felt like that every time. So
Yes.
not uniquely to you.
Hear
People
it.
like you, I should be saying. How can anybody feel that they've paid you fairly? What you just did in the last only 3, 4 minutes, this whole system thing that I didn't even know what it meant or never heard of it before, you've just opened my eyes about something that could be absolutely life-changing for the company.
Yes, I'm so glad, because it's been life-changing for my
I mean,
company
how
as
can
well.
I ever pay you for this?
I'm just the messenger, aren't I? You're the one who'll make the magic happen.
Seriously, when I joined Martial Logic, my family background in terms of where we stood, I mean, we were very fortunate in many ways, but I don't know, middle class, maybe lower middle class. But certainly my parents weren't educated. My dad didn't even know how to read and write, only could sign his name. Never went to school, never. Yeah? So he was born in, talking about 30s.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And never went to school, came from a very unprivileged
What a different
family.
world.
Yeah. And so when I had the privilege of working with, for example, a lawyer, he's retired now, bless him, he was a lot older, most amazing guy, he was life-changing for me. And I give this advice to people right now. Some people take it for granted. It's so sad. Well, I don't blame people. I always say I probably delivered the message wrong. Shouldn't be saying that. Nevertheless, I try really to say to people, spending money on a good lawyer is the best money you'll ever spend. But equally, spending money on a personal psychologist, or in the event of, if it's work related, someone like yourself, or for a leader who's struggling with their leadership, they know if they really look in the mirror, they know they're failing. They know they're trying, but it's not going well. For them to talk to you for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 hours, I mean, my God, the best investment they could ever make in themselves.
That's the aim. Absolutely. That's the opportunity.
And I didn't recognize it until, as I said, the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, as I started to engage with people like you now.
Yeah.
That's really incredible.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a joy to speak to you, because you've got so much appetite
To learn, yeah. The whole system thing now.
Yes.
You have no idea what you just did in my head.
I'm so glad.
Because, whilst we're relatively speaking a small company, but we have the full ecosystem.
You have the full ecosystem.
We've got even not only board of directors, there's a difference between shareholders and directors, because we might have 15 shareholders, but only 2 or 3 directors. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and then the leadership team that I've been trying to create.
Yes.
And then you've got the employees, but also, oh my God, the clients are so influential in our world.
They are. Yes.
and the potential partners. We don't have a lot of partners at the moment. We want to start to focus more on building partnerships out there
Great.
with, companies like payroll providers, for example,
Yeah. Yeah.
learning LMSs, learning management systems,
Yes.
those kind of in that technology ecosystem.
Mm.
We want to
Mm.
start to build meaningful partnerships with them.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but at
Yeah.
the moment, at least, if we talk about shareholders
Yep.
and just simplify it, shareholders, let's say the leadership team
Yep.
and employees and clients,
Yes.
to think about that when you're making decisions and to ask yourself, do I have silos? Am I
Yes.
creating fractures? Maybe purposely because self-preservations or whatever reason or innocence or whatever it might be the reason
Yep.
how we ended up here, and how can I change that? Is
Yep.
that a better idea? Better for you as a leader, better for the company to change that situation? My gosh.
Something really practical to leave you with, Anwar. If you just write those on separate pieces of paper. Customers, leaders, staff, partners. If you just put those on pieces of paper on the floor, just separate pieces of paper, and you need to make a really big decision, just go and stand on each one, and you'll get the intelligence straight from the
Oh,
system.
wow.
And I would not be surprised if by the time you've stood on all of them, the decision hasn't
You
changed.
actually mean it, stand as in put it on the floor, stand on it.
Just go stand on them.
Oh, wow.
It's the system's always communicating with you about its needs. Systems leaders just tune in. Just need to tune in.
Can we make sure this is a short, and let's push it to all our clients as soon as possible? I mean, I can't believe it. This is an amazing tool. I feel it. I really feel, without even doing it, what you're saying here.
I do that a lot in coaching with clients. It's
Yep.
like, whoa, I don't know what you should do. Let's go ask the
So
system.
these practical tools, yeah?
Yeah, let's go ask the system. And inevitably, they'll do that exercise. They'll go, oh my gosh, it's completely different what I need to do. I was almost going to do this. Now I'm going to do something that looks after all of that and makes all of it stronger, not just the bit I was focusing in on. Leave that with you as something you can test out for yourself.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah, good to speak
I'm
to you.
immensely grateful for Chris to have found you and for you to have made the time investment.
Likewise to be with you today.
Thank
Anwar.
you.
It's wonderful to speak
Thank
with
you.
you. Thank you for
Absolutely
having
wonderful.
me on your podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wonderful to talk to you. Thank you for coming across, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone. Cheers for now.
Thanks so much.
Wow.